Hi there. Kind of a spooky little open. Well, it's for good cause. We're going to be talking. Hi, I'm Bill Hitchcock, by the way, and welcome to the program. Our topic today is actually twofold. We're going to be covering two things. One is unprovoked shark attacks. This is fascinating stuff. We're going to go around the world. We're going to go around the country. We're going to go around the coast of Florida. We're going to go around the coast of North Carolina. And we're going to show you historically where the hot spots are for unprovoked shark attacks. The other topic that we're going to be talking about is shark depredation. Now, this is something I'd never really heard that term until recently, and I didn't know was a problem. Evidently, shark depredation is a big problem. So much so is that in Washington, D.C., they're trying to pass legislation to not end it, but to curtail it, to understand it and see what they can do, because it has had a huge impact. We're going to D.C., we're going to be listening to charter boat captains, we're going to be listening to U.S. Congressmen, we're going to be doing a whole lot of things. Unprovoked shark attacks, boom. Let's put up this graph. Here you see around the world, and I love the time period. It's from 1580 to present, saying that USA, 1,640 unprovoked shark attacks. Australia, not even half that. I was very surprised. By the way, this information comes from the Florida Museum of Natural History's International Shark Attack file. Now let's go to the U.S. from 1837 to present. The U.S. is the #1 place in the world for shark attacks. Guess what? Florida is the #1 place in the U.S. for shark attacks by big time. Looking at this chart, Florida 928 and #2 Hawaii at only 195. Going down to North Carolina, 80. These are unprovoked shark attacks since 1837. Now let's concentrate in on Florida a little bit, since they're the capital of the world for unprovoked shark attacks. It gets even more specific. Look at that. Do you see that real orangey section on the east coast of Florida? That's Volusia County. 351 unprovoked shark attacks. #2, not even half that, Brevard County. Sound familiar? Remember the dangling chads? Brevard County. They're #2 at 158. Now, why that area, those two counties, as you can see, they're adjacent to each other. Why are they the hotbed in all of Florida? Why, in Florida of all of America, and America all of the U.S., there's your hotbed. Don't know. Now, let's go to North Carolina. Look at that, down towards the Cape Fear area, where you got Brunswick County at 18, New Hanover County at 15. And again, this is from, as the graph shows, 1935 to present. As you keep moving on up the coastline, you see Onslow at 10, Carteret at 14, Pender at 2, Hyde County at 4, Currituck at 3. Now, why more shark attacks unprovoked down there in the New Hanover, Brunswick County, Cape Fear area? And the further north you go, the less the shark attacks. This is what I thought automatically, the Gulf Stream. Put my glasses down. The Cape Fear region is farthest away from the Gulf Stream in North Carolina than any other location. As you get up towards Carteret County, the distance from the Carteret County to the Gulf Stream shortens, and the shortest jump off the coast of North Carolina to the Gulf Stream is the Point of Hatteras. And that seems to be why there's more shark attacks from the farthest away from the Gulf Stream. Another variable, of course, is off of the Point of Hatteras, and I'm speaking in broad stroke terms here, is where the Labrador Current comes down. So the Labrador Current comes down, the Gulf Stream comes up, the Gulf Stream goes off towards Europe. What effect that has on sharks, don't know. Now, last year, again, this is from Florida Museum of Natural History's International Shark Attack file. All of their information is down in the comments section. Their link is there. They say that last year there were 69 unprovoked shark attacks here in the U.S. They say that 22 were provoked bites. Now, this is where it gets real interesting, and boy, do we have some video to show you. Boat bites. There was 9 last year, whether it was a motorized boat or an unmotorized, non-motorized boat. I want to go to some footage from NBC News of just this very thing happening. It's pretty spooky.
This stunning scene happening off the coast of South Florida. A bull shark repeatedly launching itself at a fisherman's boat.
And all of a sudden, something switched in the shark's brain, and he just went into full attack mode.
Video producer and fishing guide Josh Jorgensen had been following a school of fish with his drone when he caught the shark battering his friend's boat.
And he just went completely nuts and just started attacking the engines and just ripping them to pieces.
Fishing boat captain Carl Torreson said he couldn't believe how much damage the shark caused.
I didn't think a shark could actually shake the boat like that. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like a ride from Universal Studios.
Oh! In May, a similar incident captured off the coast of Oahu.
Tiger shark ran me.
Kayak fisherman Scott Haraguchi rammed by a 10 to 12 foot tiger shark.
There's a lot of theories and hypotheses about why sharks attack boat motors. I've seen it before. One is the electricity, the hum, the motion of it, a magnetic field that it might be projecting out as to why sharks go after boat motors. Now, the kayaker, you can just assume that he looked like a seal, I guess, to Mr. Shark. Have no clue, but these things do happen. We had 9 last year, unprovoked boat attacks here in the U.S. Now, moving forward, we got another great video to get out to you. There are 3 major kinds of unprovoked shark attacks, and there are 4 activities when people are most likely to be attacked by a shark. Again, unprovoked. Let's take a look at that video.
There are 3 primary types of unprovoked shark attacks. By far the most common are hit-and-run attacks. These typically occur in the surf zone with swimmers and surfers the normal targets. The victim seldom sees its attacker and the shark does not return after inflicting a single bite or slash wound. Bump and bite attacks and sneak attacks, while less common, result in greater injuries and most fatalities. These types of attack usually involve divers or swimmers in somewhat deeper waters. Bump and bite attacks are characterized by the shark initially circling and often bumping the victim prior to the actual attack. Sneak attacks differ in having the strike occur without warning. 3 species of sharks have been repetitively implicated as the primary attackers of man. They are the white shark, tiger shark, and bull shark. These species probably are responsible for a large portion of bump and bite and sneak attacks. Here are 4 activities when people are most likely to be attacked. Surface recreationists include those victims atop a body of water through the use of a board or flotation device. These victims were engaged in activities such as surfing, windsurfing, boogie boarding, or floating on inflatables at the time of attack. Swimmers and bathers are those immersed in the water and may be treading water, snorkeling, playing in the shallows, or wading at the time of attack. Divers are all victims underwater. This division includes mostly scuba divers and free divers. People entering or exiting the water is when an attack occurs as someone is climbing a ladder into a boat or immediately after jumping off a platform, for example.
Holy crap. Oh my.
Be aware. Be safe. You are never alone in the water.
Oh my God.
A lot of people say, well, it's common sense. Don't go out early in the morning, late in the afternoon, things like that. Don't wear jewelry, wear dark clothes. We might think it's common sense. I live on the coast, have for 40 plus years. It's common sense. But then again, I look at things like rip currents. A couple of weekends ago, we had over 150 rip current rescues in Carteret County and New Hanover County combined. Just those 2 counties, we had over 150 rip current rescues. And you say, well, it's common sense. Well, I really don't know how to respond to that. It's not common sense if you don't live on the coast. I guess if, one of us from the coast went up to the mountains, grizzly bears, what's that? I don't know. So we'll keep moving forward with that. Science Direct did a very interesting survey. And again, Science Direct, their website and all this information is down in the comment sections too. They say that 77% of recreational fishermen, that's just you and me, experienced depredation in nearshore and pelagic fisheries in the last 5 years. 77% of us fishing over the last 5 years had this situation where Mr. Sharky came up and ate our catch. That's what shark depredation is. I don't know if I made that clear. They're coming up and they're eating what we're catching, and it's creating a big problem. 87% of guides experience depredation when fishing with clients, and overwhelmingly reported that depredation has a negative effect on their livelihood. All right, let's keep going. Depredation represents an unquantified source of mortality for target species in recreational fisheries that, if frequent, could have serious implications for stock assessments and species management. You better believe it. It will. You know, you may recall a couple of weeks ago when I was drawing, making an example of with the new license reporting procedure, where we have to report our speckled gray trout, our stripers, our red drum, and flounder, that you only have to report what you keep. My analogy was, what if you caught 10 flounder? 8 were short, you threw them back, you just kept 2. So you reported 2. How's that help fisheries managers? When you could have told them that I had 10 and they were this length, wouldn't that help out a lot more? It's the same here. If all of these fish that are being caught, shark depredation occurring, and people aren't reporting the catch. So yes, that is definitely an issue. Some research also suggests that depredation could be a learned behavior in sharks, altering natural foraging behavior in response to the presence of fishing activity. Yes, I used to be the coordinator for the Tag a Giant Bluefin Tuna Conservation Series. One of the things we started doing, now we were at first surgically implanting tags, so the fish had to be recovered to get the tag out, to get all the information. Then we started putting what was called a satellite pop-off tag, where we stuck in externally of the bluefin tuna a tag that after a predetermined time would pop off, float to the surface of the water, send the information to a satellite. We got all that kind of stuff. But one of the things we did, I remember doing this off of Hatteras one year, is we were placing sonic tags on these bluefin tuna. Why? So the next morning when we started heading on out, we knew where the school was. We just followed the sonic tag. One of the things we discovered is that as the boats are heading on out, the bluefin tunas were coming back towards the boats. Other thing we found out is that some bluefin tunas, ocean liners, they deviate off of us and follow them. So yes, it is a learned behavior. This is what I want to go to. We're going to go to a House hearing, I believe, subcommittee. Captain Jack Graham of the charter boat Aficionado, fishes out of Oregon Inlet Fishing Center, gives testimony to the problem of shark depredation. I didn't realize it was so big. Listen to everything this man talks about, Captain Graham talks about. It was about 6-7 minutes. I had to cut it down to about 2-3 minutes, but listen to every word he says.
Thanks for having me. My name's Jack Graham. I run a recreational charter boat out of Oregon Inlet Fishing Center, fishing the Gulf Stream waters off the coast of North Carolina's Outer Banks. I'm here on behalf of HR 4051. I'm one captain of a fleet of about 75 boats and one of the young bloods in my fleet. And I really appreciate you guys, the invitation to come give testimony about a phenomenon that's been occurring and exponentiating over the past 10 years. That phenomenon is an astounding depredation of yellowfin and big-eye tuna by what we believe is one of the most significant biomasses of large sharks in existence on the planet. To begin, I would like to congratulate the scientific community and legislators who took initiative in conservation efforts so many years ago. If what we are seeing on our coastlines isn't proof that conservation works, I don't know what is. Just the other day, by my rudimentary calculations, there were boats fishing in 300 feet of water all the way out to 3,000 feet of water. And all had multiple encounters and depredation issues with large sharks feeding on a multitude of species of fish on the end of their lines. I used my GPS and drew a square from the northernmost boats to the southernmost boats and came up with a conservative area of approximately 300 square miles. The species of sharks varied somewhat depending on depth, but the most common encounters are with dusky, greater hammerhead, silky, spinner, and sandbar sharks. Interesting side note, a little bit of research I've done tells me spinner sharks are coastal sharks. However, we routinely encounter them in over 1,000 feet of water, 35 to 40 miles off the coast. I've traveled all over the world to fish and dive, and I've seen just about every square inch of Australia's Great Barrier Reef, and myself nor my colleagues have seen anything that comes close to what we are seeing in our home waters. I mentioned the square mileage, and that was just one day, but I feel I need to stress this is a daily occurrence. From about the middle of April through September, we take bookings 7 days a week, and we'll fish days and days and days in a row if weather permits. I'll put it this way. Shark Week has absolutely nothing on what we are seeing off the coast of North Carolina right now. The reason I'm telling you this story is because for years I took records of the depredation happening on a daily and monthly basis out of my marina. My method was fairly simple. Our marina offers a fish cleaning service. Each day they pick up each boat's fish and weigh them. The customer pays by the pound. By knowing how many tuna were caught that day, I was able to calculate the average size tuna brought to the docks each day. I would then talk to the other boats, ask them how many tuna they caught versus how many tuna were eaten by sharks. In the beginning, it was about half and half. So if I hooked 20 tuna, I would get on average 10 to the boat. Some days were worse, very rarely were they better. For months on end, our fish cleaning service was cleaning in the neighborhood of 10,000 pounds of tuna per day. Again, this is average. There were days we cleaned as much as 15 to 18,000 pounds in one day. But if we use just a conservative estimate of 10,000 pounds of tuna per day, say factor in 5 days per month of weather days where the fleet didn't go fishing, that still adds up to about 250,000 pounds of tuna depredation in 1 month. And that's just my small marina with about 25 boats. There's about 75 boats in the fleet. So including charter boats from 3 others marina, a fairly active recreational private sector, 250,000 pounds is more than likely months higher. And this is happening for months and months and months on end.
That was Captain Jack Graham of the Charter Boat Aficionado out of the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. Now, a couple of things that Jack said that just really stuck out to me. One, he's talking about 120,000 pounds of tuna per month that are shark depredation. Eat them. 120,000 pounds a month. And he made clear that he's talking about 25 boats. So what would that be in totality of the sharks coming up and eating the catch? I found that absolutely incredible. He also made comment about Shark Week. And off the coast of North Carolina, he's been all around the world and nowhere is like here. So that's interesting. He made comment about H.R. 4051. This is a bill that was put forth by Congressman Rob Wittman of Virginia. It is the answer for shark depredation. And I wanted to go over some of the things that are in here, what they want to accomplish. Let's see here. They want to develop ways to improve coordination and communication across the fisheries management community. Don't we all with everything? Identify research priorities and funding. Identify shark species involved in interactions. Shark stock assessments. How sharks become habituated to humans. We just talked about that. How angler behavior and fishery regulatory frameworks may influence shark interactions, techniques and strategies to reduce harmful interactions between sharks and humans, the role of healthy shark populations in the ocean food web. Really important. Sometimes we just go, that's an evil thing. Well, no, it's a necessary thing. The sharks are necessary. Climate change impacts on shifting shark population. Climate change. When hasn't it? When has weather not changed? It always has. When has the climate environment not changed? It always has. One of the things that tickles me is up in Mars, the polar ice caps are dwindling. How did we do that? Man always seems to be the evil you-know-what in these scenarios. Anyway, develop recommended management strategies to address shark depredation and coordinate and develop distribution of educational materials. If you want to get a grant, if you want a bill passed, 2 things got to be in it. Climate change and education. You'll get passed. And speaking of getting passed, Guess what passed the House? H.R. 4051. It passed the House last February. Now the Senate's looking at it. It seems to have an awful lot of support, this bill. And again, it's a problem that I was not aware of was so massive. If you've done any type of offshore, inshore type fishing for any number of years, you will have experienced this. Now, it's not always sharks. There's one time I was fishing off of AR 315 in front of Atlantic Beach. It was, we're jigging gray trout. As we're bringing in the gray trout, whack! Wasn't a shark. It was big Hatteras bluefish were hitting it. I remember another time it was king mackerel fishing, live bait with menhaden, and saw this barracuda just pull up beside, and he's swimming beside the live baits. And I'm going, okay, what's going on? Then all of a sudden, whoop, he took off, reel sang, and we automatically thought, well, we snagged a barracuda. No, we snagged a king mackerel. The barracuda, whack, hit the king mackerel. So you got barracudas out there, you got bluefish out there, you got all sorts of critters out there, but specifically shark. It's called the Shark Act, by the way. It's short name. Evidently, this is a problem, and if 120,000 pounds of tuna just off of one little group of 25 boats is happening each month, it's a big problem. Love to hear from you. Email me, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com. It is not Gmail. It's just billhitchcock@mail.com. Let me know if you've had any experiences with shark depredation or any type of fish coming up and interfering with your catch. Let me know if you've unprovoked shark attacks. Let's hear some stories about that. If you've been out in the ocean and experienced it, whether they've attacked your boat or you've just seen them while you were swimming, let me know. And any subject matter that you would like covered, we'll take a look at it and probably do it. I'm Bill Hitchcock. Until next time.